First of all, I want to sincerely thank you for purchasing one of my escape room products. I truly appreciate that you invited me and my products into your classroom, so I hope that you and your students enjoy, are challenged, and learn something from this escape room. This video is meant to supplement the instructions already in your download in a PDF form labeled Teacher Instructions. The video is also meant to give you a general overview of all the escape rooms, including what you should print, where you can find answers, and how to set up Google Forms for your students. Please note that some escape rooms, especially those with mini escape rooms within the major escape room, may differ slightly in the number of options that you have, but that the core facilitation of the game remains the same, and that you'll be able to find everything you need in this video, as well as the instruction PDF. The first thing that you want to do for any escape room is print out and cut the student task cards and print out the student instruction handout. In a pinch, I've printed out the task cards and simply stapled them together instead of cutting them. You don't need to cut them if you don't want to, though it is kind of fun to watch students scramble to put them in number order. Most of the escape rooms have separate student instruction pages depending on teacher or Google facilitation. Off the top of my head, I think the Catholicism escape room has the same student instruction pages regardless of facilitation. The main difference on the instructions page is that one tells students how to insert their codes into Google to receive secret letters toward the escape phrase, and the other tells students to turn cards into the teacher to receive secret letters. On both pages, students should record their letters to the unscrambled phrases in the blanks at the bottom. Please note at the top of the student instruction pages that it's labeled either teacher version or Google version. There are separate versions of the escape rooms, and they are labeled with version numbers, so that if you choose to give the escape room to multiple classes, they don't spoil the unscramble phrase for other periods. Each different version has a secret phrase that's different, and different unscrambled letters. For example, version 1 in the teacher and Google facilitations will have the same unscramble phrases, but they will have different ones from version 2. The only time that differs is if you have mini escape rooms within an escape room. Then there's only one version per mini escape room. The next part of the presentation will address Google Forms. I'll show you how to make a copy of the Google Form and share it with students in a minute. Before you make a copy of the Google Form and share it with your students, determine which version you're going to use and make sure that the student instructions and the Google Form version number match, as shown on the screen. To make a copy of the Google Form, click on the link in your teacher instructions. Clicking the link will pull up a screen that looks like this. Click on the blue Make a Copy button. This will put the form in your Google Drive. You will be able to, if you want to, edit unscrambled letters or answer codes. You don't have to edit anything if you don't want to. The escape room is perfect as it is, but if you want to take out cards, for example, or if you want to change the unscrambled letters for some reason, you can do that on this screen. Don't share this link currently with students. Sharing this link with students, or the link that I gave you to make a copy, will make a copy of the form and give them the answers to it while also allowing them to edit it. To share the form with students so that they can input their answers without editing the original form, click on the Send button in the upper right-hand corner. This pulls up a dialog box where you have the option to email the form to students, copy a link to paste somewhere to share with students, or embed the Google form on your website. Regardless of facilitation, students will write answer codes, either numbers or letters, at the bottom of their cards. In teacher-led facilitation, they'll show you that card to check answers. I'll show you the answer key in a minute. In the Google version, students will type that code into the corresponding number on the Google form, as shown on the screen. Remind students to make sure that the number or title at the top of the task card is the same number into which they're typing on Google Forms. I'll walk you through how students will insert codes in a second. Next, I want to show you what happens when students get a correct answer on Google. When students insert the correct code, they will be prompted to click the Next button at the bottom of the form. When students click that button, a letter will appear near the top of the screen. In this case, it's the letter O. Students should record that letter on a blank on their student instruction page. Those letters will eventually be unscrambled to determine the escape the room phrase. If you feel like the unscramble phrase is too challenging, even with the hints I've provided, you can give students additional clues, like the number of words in the phrase, the first letter of each word, etc. The options are endless and depend on your class. If students forget to record letters, they will be able to click the back button to retrieve those letters. However, if they submit the form at the very end of the escape room and have not written down some letters, they will have to go through the entire form again by typing in codes. Speaking of which, if students run out of time, encourage them to leave their browser and tab open to the Google form and to write down the codes on their cards so they can easily pick up where they left off during the next class period. Please note that the letters will appear in an unscrambled order. Part of the escape room is challenging them to unscramble that phrase. So when students put the letters on their lines, if it doesn't seem to make sense like a word, that's correct. They still need to unscramble those letters to make a word or words. Students will enter their codes into the Google form. Their instruction sheet includes directions on how to input numbers without spaces in between, and sometimes how many numbers to include, or how to write words with or without capital letters depending on if the word is a proper noun or if they're using initials. Please make sure you have them refer to the sheet for detailed instructions for their specific escape room. Please note that no matter what students are entering into the Google form, letters or numbers, Google will mark them incorrect until all correct letters or numbers have been inserted. It doesn't matter if the first 3 numbers are correct or how many numbers there are. Google will say that students are wrong until they have all the correct numbers in the correct order. For example, in this example, my correct code is 2121. Even though 212 is the correct beginning to the code, Google does not tell me that I'm correct until I put that final digit in. Please also remind students to pay attention to the letters in the middle of the Google form. I know I've mentioned that a lot, but it's something my students tend to forget. This is the letter again that students will write on the lines on their student instruction page to unscramble later. Here's an example of letters. Finally, an answer key is provided. This is necessary for the teacher-led version because you'll check answers for students and award them letters. Please be sure when you're checking answers and awarding the letters that the version column number matches the version number on the student instruction sheet so that students get the correct letters to correspond to the unscramble phrase. The answer key is beneficial for a variety of reasons, even if you're using Google. First of all, if students are having a hard time on one of the cards, you can guide them in the right direction. You can give them a number, or an answer explanation is provided in some cases so that you can guide them and support them without totally giving them the number of the card. Secondly, you can help students if they forget to write down letters, because you have the letters on the answer key. You may not want to do that because you want to encourage students to write them down every time they show up, but if only one group forgets and submits the form, you may want to just provide them with the letters, as long as they show you that they got through the escape room. The unscramble phrase answers are below each answer key for each version, in case you want to give students more clues about the phrases that they're going to be unscrambling. Once again, thank you for inviting me and my escape rooms into your classroom. If you have any questions about facilitation or anything remains unclear after reading the student instructions, the teacher instructions, and watching this video, please feel free to email me at letsgetliterature@gmail.com. I'll be happy to help you in any way I can.